Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I very much appreciate you. Before we get started, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. It very much helps me out. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Insurance that I think everyone in their 20s or 30s should have. Let's get started. Okay, the first one I'm going to start with is not one that necessarily you have to have, but I think it's dependent on your situation. I'm going to start with a life insurance. Now, the reason why I want to talk about life insurance is because, especially in our age gap, especially in our community, we don't necessarily seem to talk about life insurance as much as we should. Life insurance, if you didn't know, covers you if you die, and it is a really sad thought. It is a really somber thing to talk about, but it is reality, and we need to make sure that we cover ourselves and our loved ones in case anything bad were to happen. Like I said, life insurance, you don't necessarily need to have it. It's dependent on your situation. So if you have dependents, if you have children, if you have partner, so if you're married, and if your salary is a huge contributor to your household bills or your mortgage or any sort of long-term payment, it's advised that you should have life insurance. Now, if you're like me, who is a single Pringle, don't really have anybody, don't have no children, don't have any dependents, it's not necessarily advised that you have life insurance. But one thing that you could possibly have, which I have, is that my company gives me the benefit of death in service payments. So if I were to die whilst I'm working for my company, they would pay my family my salary for, I'm not sure how many years, but for a certain amount of time after my death, which would help my family. So it's one of those things. It's not something you definitely have to have, but if you do have children and if you pay towards a mortgage or you have a partner, a husband or wife, then it is advised that you have life insurance to help your family out in case anything were to happen. It is a somber one to talk about, but I had to talk about it. Hopefully we've got that out of the way and all the other ones won't be as, sad to think about, but this is reality. We're adulting. We need to think about these things and we need to have these discussions. Now, the next type of insurance I think everyone in their 20s or 30s should have is travel insurance. Now, this is a weird one because I think I've only paid for travel insurance once, and when I travel I tend to not have insurance, but I realized that it's actually very risky to do that, and I think all of you guys should understand that whenever you travel, it is very important for you to have insurance. Travel insurance covers you in case of lost baggage, in case you get ill, in case anything or any emergency tends to happen abroad, and these are all things that can happen. I think it's only lucky if these things don't happen to you, but it's a reality. The same way you could be in your home country and suddenly you faint or something happens is the same way you could be in another country, a foreign land, and something mad happens. I mean, God forbid, of course, but just in case. This is the thing about insurance. It's that security. It covers you. It helps you in case anything is to go wrong. Now, travel insurance can be very cheap and sometimes it can be very expensive, especially if you decide to do it for a single trip basis. So what I would suggest is that, assess your year. Obviously 2020 is looking sticky still, but maybe if you're thinking about next year or the year after that, think about how many times you're planning on traveling. Even if it's just once, it's worth paying travel insurance just to cover you in case anything is to go wrong. It also helps sometimes when maybe like you lose your bank card, or you lose something else out there. Sometimes travel insurance can cover you in those things. It can cover you in terms of your medical bills sometimes too, depending on what you get. So I would just say that to be able to sit on your plane ride and be doing all your Instagram and your Snapchatting of the window something with peace. If you want to do it with peace, get yourself some travel insurance and you will be fine. Now, the next one I have for you, you need to have it because it's illegal not to have it. That's right, you guessed it. It's car insurance. If you're driving or if you have a car, you need car insurance. It's a legal requirement, non-negotiable. It must be done, okay? Now, the thing about car insurance is that, especially when you're a young person, especially when you haven't been driving for very long, it can be very, very painful premiums and painful prices when you go compare and you'll compare the maker. Oh my days. I remember my first, anyway, let me not even think about it. It's painful, but it has to be done. There are different ways that you can try and get your insurance down. Like, definitely try and play with your algorithms on them comparison websites, like, change your mileage, change where you're going to park your car during the night. Do everything you need to do to try and get your premium down as much as possible. And in terms of sorting out your finances, looking at your car insurance is a big thing. And if you haven't checked out my video about sorting out your finances, please make sure you check it out up here. But I would just say that just don't see it as something that you can just slide your way out of. Is not worth it. When it comes to the police, when it comes to them ANPR systems, they're always checking for that stuff. If you get away with it the first time, don't think you'll get away with it the second time. Even if you're learning how to drive, by the way, make sure you have insurance on the car that you're driving and that you have insurance yourself. Like I said, is not worth it. Is not worth it to not have it. You don't want any points on your license. You don't want your license revoked. Is not worth it. Make sure that you have car insurance. Make sure it's the comprehensive. I would recommend the comprehensive cover. I think that's always the cheapest one as well. But yeah, just make sure you have it. Don't play with it. Get it, okay? Now this last one, you might be a little bit surprised, I'm gonna say, but I would recommend everyone to get gadget insurance for any of their items that are above maybe £300. This is a weird one because a lot of times you might think, do I need it? I get that, but I'm talking to my creatives, my freelancers, people that maybe have side hustles and are using these devices as part of their income or is important to their line of work. So I'm talking about your iPad Pros, your DSLR cameras, your MacBook Pros. Do you know what I mean? These devices that cost a lot of money, your lenses maybe, these devices cost a lot of money. And if anything were to go wrong, it would be peak on the bank account. Now, I need to be honest with you guys, anything can happen. And the thing about insurance is that it provides security, and security is worth it. Trust me, is worth it. Because I think to myself, say for example, you are a, I don't know, digital artist and you have an iPad Pro and you maybe have to take public transport somewhere and one wayward man decides to just, I don't know, knock your bag and then it hits the floor and then you're just like, damn. Like you think however much money is to replace it, however much money is to repair it, has to come out of your bank account immediately. Whereas if you have insurance, the chances are you won't have to spend that much money to replace it, or your insurance company will just take care of it. And I think that security, that sense of release, that peace is worth it. So I would just suggest that if you have gadgets that are really important to you that you couldn't replace if anything were to happen or it were to get damaged immediately, then you should get insurance, because the chances are you can go on these sites like Protect Your Bubble and just insure it for as little as, you know, £6 a month, maybe with a £100 excess. So you'd pay £100 and then your insurance company will take care of the rest. Like, it's worth it for that security. It's worth it, especially if it's for your line of work. And I think you can even use insurance as probably an expense if you're a freelancer or sole trader. So I just think that if you have a gadget that is above a certain amount, depending on your financial situation, insure it. Give yourself that security, and trust me, you'll be able to leave your house and really smell the roses without having to worry about any wayward man possibly knocking your bag out of your hand. Yeah, guys, that's it. That's the insurance that I suggest that everyone in their 20s should have, depending on their situation, of course. I spoke about life insurance, I spoke about travel insurance, I spoke about gadget insurance, and I spoke about, of course, car insurance, which is illegal not to have, so don't even try and play with that one, please. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. It very much helps me out. Subscribe for more content like this, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Have a blessed and beautiful week, and take care. Bye.